This video is brought to you by Nerdy Tutors. It is an on-demand tutoring platform that connects students with the best matching tutors in minutes. They understand what sort of problem a student is having and use smart algorithms to find out the best tutor who can explain the right concept. With Nerdy Tutors, you can chat with your tutor and have the whole session on the phone. Visit Nerdy Tutors using the link in the description and get $10 off on your first order. Welcome back to the world of English exams. So I hope all of you are preparing very well for your IELTS test, and today we are back with another video in which we are going to help you answer the questions that are present in the second reading test of Cambridge IELTS Academic 15 book. So if you haven't watched our videos related to how to answer the questions related to part 1, then you can watch the videos that are linked in the description box, and as you know, we are doing this like a series of solved reading test videos, and today we are going to begin the second reading test, and each of our reading test videos is divided into 3 parts to make the concept very clear and understandable to all of you. So in this part of the video, we are going to understand how to solve the question types like which paragraph contains the following information. So we are going to know how to answer these questions. This is the first part of the discussion, and followed by that we have summary completion. Now, although many students are really confident with fill in the blanks, this particular question type called summary completion seems to be a problematic one. So today I am going to help you answer them properly, and that too I'm going to use the skimming and scanning techniques. I'm not just going to give you the paragraph which contains the answer, rather we are going to do it just like in the real exam. So we are going to read it paragraph by paragraph, and we are going to get the answers for all these question types. So in this video we are going to answer 13 questions. The first set of questions belong to para matching, or identifying the paragraph which contains the suitable information that is given in the paraphrased form. So you can see that there are 6 statements listed here, and the instructions say that you need to write the correct letter from A to G, which means the paragraphs are alphabetically arranged. Let's check them. You can see that A and B are given here, C and D in this, then we have E and F, finally we have G. So there are a total of 7 paragraphs, and from these 7 paragraphs we need to find the answer for 6 questions. That means we need to identify the paragraph in which this information is present. So without any further delay, let's get straight into the concept. But let me tell you that for answering these kinds of questions, it's always important that you learn how to paraphrase the given statement, because you cannot expect the words to be seen as it is in the paragraph. You will have to find the meaning, for which paraphrasing is the most essential skill that you need to possess. So what I generally advise the students to do if such matching question types are given is I will ask them to read all the questions at once, because you never know, the information could be present in any passage, because the answers will not be found in a sequence. That means the answer for the first question could be found in the 5th paragraph, the answer for the second question could be found in the first paragraph, and so on. So it's better that you have an idea of what you are looking for before you actually start reading. So we're going to learn how to implement this approach practically now. So please stay tuned and start doing it with me. This is how you do it in the real test as well. So the first statement, reference to an appealing way. Appealing is nothing but everybody is convinced. So satisfiable way. So reference to an appealing way of using dance that the writer is not proposing. Okay, so which means that there is a way to use dance. That means a paragraph, the passage is something to do with dance, and the writer is not proposing that way. But we have to find which way is that and what paragraph gives the information about that. So that's the first statement. Here the keywords are appealing way, dance, not proposing, because you will not find the term writer. Maybe you could get it in his tone, like I or according to me or something like that, but you will never find the term writer as it is. So let's not mark that as a keyword. I hope you understood the meaning of this statement. And with that, let's proceed to the next statement. An example. Now here you need to be very, very cautious, guys. Here it says an example, which means you are looking for a single example. An, it's an article that signifies singular. So an example of a contrast. Contrast is nothing but a difference. A contrast between past and present approaches to building. So they're talking about building, and they're talking about the past approach and the present approach. So how was it in the past and how is it now? So this is the and this is said with an example, and we need to find the paragraph which mentions that example. Next, here the keywords are contrast, past and present approaches, and of course building. Then, mention of an objective. What is the meaning of objective? It's talking about an aim, the purpose. So, an objective, that means one objective of both dance and engineering. So, they are talking that dance is meant to do this, and engineering has an aim which is something else. So that is what you need to find in the paragraph. So which paragraph specifies the aim, the objective, the purpose of both dance as well as engineering? So the keywords are objective, dance, engineering. Next, reference to an unforeseen problem. Unforeseen problem means we don't expect that. That's something which is unexpected, and we don't forecast that, we would face that problem. That is called unforeseen. So we don't expect that we would face the problem. Then an unforeseen problem, that means we're talking about one problem arising from ignoring the climate. Ignoring is nothing but not caring about, not being bothered about. So if we don't bother about climate, if we don't take that into consideration, what is that negative impact that can have? So that is what we are searching for. Next, why some measures intended to help people are being reversed. That means there are some measures is nothing but solutions kind of thing. So these measures are intended, that means they are meant for helping people, but they are being reversed. That means they're not being accepted, or they're not being fruitful, they're not being successfully implemented. So, and the reason why these measures are failing to get to reach to people is what we have to find out. Then, reference to how transport has an impact on human life. Very simple. How is transport impacting the lives of humans? That is what we need to find. So in the first question, we have to find a way, a form, a method of using dance, and the writer is not proposing that method. Second, we need to find a contrast between past and present approaches. In the third thing, we need to find an aim of both dance and engineering. The fourth, we have to talk about a problem that arises if the climate is ignored. Fifth one, some measures are being taken to help people, but they're backfiring. The sixth one, the impact that transport has on human lives. See how easy it is. We know what we are looking for. With that in mind, let's start reading the paragraphs one by one, and let's find the answer. And remember that if you can skim the paragraphs properly and make short notes in and around the paragraph, it becomes so easy to answer the rest of the questions. So let's start with paragraph A. The way we travel. The way we indicates human beings. The way we travel around the cities has a major impact on whether they are sustainable. You got a clue here. The way we travel, the method of transport. Travel can be given as transport, isn't it? And around cities has an impact on whether they are sustainable. So the paragraph is talking about transportation. Now let's go back to the questions. Which statement mentions about transport? Obviously, it is the sixth one, reference of how transport has an impact impact on the human lives. You got the answer in the first sentence itself, but just to confirm, we would like to look at the words that are related to transport. Let us search if we can get any more related words to transport. The second sentence, transportation is estimated to account for 30% of the energy consumption in world's most developed nations. So lowering the energy using vehicles, another related word. Then for decreasing the environmental impact of mobility means movement, travel, transport. Then one more thing he has, sustainable travel, other ways of sustainable travel. And again you look at this, the ways we travel affect our physical and mental health, social lives, access to work and culture, and the air we breathe. Are you able to see that the entire paragraph is talking about transportation and how it will impact our physical and mental health and our social lives? So, can you confirm that the answer for the last question is paragraph A? Yes. So you need to write the answer for the sixth sentence as A, because paragraph A mentions about how transport has an impact on human lives. I hope you are understanding the concept. So if you know what you are looking for, you see how easy it is. Now let's go to the second paragraph. Dance might hold some of the answers. So that means we are searching for, that means the paragraph is talking something related to dance. So let's go back to the questions. So the first question, you see, using dance. Then this sentence, does it say about dance? The second one, no, it's only about buildings. Then third question, objective of dance. So you got two questions which are mentioning the term dance. So paragraph B could contain the information related to either of these questions. The first one, appealing way of using dance that the writer is not proposing. Somebody else is talking about that. Or objective of dance and engineering. Let's read it clearly. This is not to suggest. This is not to suggest means the writer is not suggesting it. So, this is not to suggest everyone should dance their way to work. However, healthy and happy it might make us, but rather the techniques used by choreographers to experiment with the design and movement in dance can provide engineers with tools to stimulate new ideas in city making. So here they are telling that dance is not a suggestible way to everybody, but it could possibly have an impact on engineers. So here this is very important. This is not to suggest everybody. That means dance is one of the ways, but is the writer suggesting us to use dance? No. So which question gives this information? Reference to an appealing way of using dance that the writer is not proposing. So proposing is paraphrased as suggesting here. This is not to suggest everybody. That means the writer is not suggesting us. So the answer for the first question is B. I hope you're understanding. Guys, please do not get confused because you saw the word engineering. We need to find something that is related to objective, some aim, motive, purpose. Did we find such words in paragraph B? No. So they are just telling that the choreographers, that is people who compose dance movements, can experiment with the design uh, and movement in dance, and that could provide that's just a chance. It's not talking about a motive. I hope you are able to understand what it means. So with that, let's proceed to the next paragraph. And in case you have any doubts related to any of these questions, please feel free to leave us a comment and we will get back to you as soon as possible. So let's read paragraph C. Whereas, what is the meaning of whereas? It shows a contrast. Let me give a sentence with this. Okay, I love pink color, whereas my brother loves blue. which means that there is a difference of opinion, there is a contrast. Okay, so whereas medieval builders is nothing but people who belong to a different period of time. Medieval builders in builders. So this paragraph has to do something with buildings and designs. So let's go back to the questions and see which paragraph is talking about buildings. So, an example of a contrast. The paragraph itself started with a contrast. Whereas, yes, past and present. So, past is paraphrased as medieval in the paragraph, and also it's talking about buildings. But we did not get anything related to the present approach, current, new approach. So, we got it about medieval, but we need to see something related to the present in order to confirm this answer. And let's see if any other question is related to building. No, this is about climate, helping people. This we already got this. So I think that this paragraph contains the answer for the second question, but let's not confirm unless we see something related to the present approach. Okay, whereas medieval builders improvised and adapted the construction, again a word related to buildings, through their intimate knowledge of materials and personal experience. So how did the people build back then? They based it on the knowledge that they had on materials and also on the personal experience of the conditions on the site. Site is another word related to construction. Building designs are now means present, conceived and stored in media technologies that detach the designer from the physical and social realities. So previously people used to have the knowledge of materials, and also they used to consider their personal experience of being on the site. That's how they used to build. But now everything is done by media technologies. So is it showing a difference of the ways? Obviously yes. So which question has the answer as C? It's question number 2. So the answer is C. So first answer is found in paragraph B. The second answer is found in paragraph C. And so far we have found that the answer for the sixth question is found in the first paragraph. So let's quickly start reading paragraph D. To illustrate, Senate discusses the Peachtree Center in Atlanta, USA, a development typical of a modernist approach. Modernist is nothing but a person who takes into consideration the new things and gets adapted to that. A modernist approach to urban planning prevalent in the 1970s. Okay, so he's talking about an approach, a way that was prevalent. That means it was existent in the 1970s. And who is that person? He's called Senate. Okay, so what did they do? So there is an institute called Peachtree Center that's located in Atlanta. So what did they do in this center? Peachtree created a grid of streets and towers intended as a new pedestrian friendly downtown for Atlanta. So it created a grid, a kind of model with streets and towers, and that somehow looked like the pedestrian friendly. Pedestrians are those who walk. So pedestrian friendly downtown. So downtown is usually crowded with cars and motorbikes and stuff like that, but they have created a model in which it is pedestrian friendly. And what area is that? They're talking about something called downtown. Okay, so according to Senate, this failed. So they wanted to help the people by giving an approach that is a pedestrian friendly downtown. But was it successful? No, it failed because its designers had invested too much faith in a computer aided design to tell them how it would operate. That means they did not go to the site and inspect. Rather, they relied completely on the computer based designs. That's why they failed to take into account that purpose-built street cafes could not operate in the hot sun without protective awnings common in older buildings. So they have to consider the impact of the sun and they fail to consider the impact of the hot sun that would have on the people. So previously this was considered. So that's the reason this model has failed. So this is the problem, if you don't consider the impact of the climate, that is a hot sun, so then there could be some problem and the design could fail. Next, uh, and would need energy consuming air conditioner instead. Yes, when under the hot sun, nobody could dine, nobody could go to the cafe. So what is needed? They have to install air conditioning units, or that its giant car park would feel so unwelcoming. Unwelcoming means people would not like that, and that would put people off. Put off means that would depress them getting out of their car. So nobody wants to get out of the car and go into the hot sun. Yes, so if you consider the climatic impact, then everything would go as per plan. Otherwise, there is a problem if you avoid considering the impacts of climate. So this has to do something with hot sun and a problem. So which question gives us the answer for this? Yeah, reference to an unforeseen problem. What is that unforeseen problem? People will not get out of their cars. And why is it arising? Because the climate is ignored. Climate is paraphrased as hot sun here. So contextual relativity is important. You have to see how it is related to the context given. I hope you understood the concept. Now let's move to the fifth question, or we will continue reading the next paragraph, that is paragraph E. The same is true in transport engineering. Okay, which uses, that means you have to consider the impacts on various segments. Only then the transport engineering would be successful. And what is transport engineering? It uses models to predict the shape and the way people move through the city. So similar to how you have to construct a model to design a street. You remember in the earlier paragraph we have read that people designed something related to urban planning and they constructed a pedestrian friendly downtown. They built a model like that. So in this paragraph they are telling that even for transport engineering also you need to make such models. It's very necessary to consider all the impacts and build a model. Again, these models are necessary, but they are built on a specific world views in which certain forms of efficiency and safety are considered and other experiences are ignored. So they are not considering all the things. They are ignoring certain factors and they are considering only certain factors. So designs that seem logical in models appear counterintuitive. This is a very, very important thing, guys. Counterintuitive means they are not liked by, they are not supported by whom? Let's see. In the actual experiences of their users. Users means people. So let me explain what these sentences mean. It's telling that just like how people are using models to depict a downtown, people should also design models that are related to various forms of transport. But it's just like building a model of a car. But if they don't consider all the impacts, all the factors, then people will not like that. People fail to take that. You are trying to help people, but are they ready, are they willing to accept it? No, because they are ignoring how the car will look on the road. You are not considering that travel impact on the people, on the users. So that's the reason some of the car designs are failing. So that's what it means. So I am not just referring to car here, but I'm telling you so that you will understand what it means. So the guardrails, okay, so they're talking about something known as guardrails. The guardrails that will be familiar to anyone who has attempted to cross a British road were an engineering solution to pedestrian safety. That means they wanted to save the pedestrians, they wanted to ensure the safety of the pedestrians based on the models that prioritize the smooth flow of the traffic. So they thought in the model, when they were designing the model, they thought that it was very easy and pedestrian friendly. On Wide major roads, they often guide pedestrians to the specific crossing points and slow down their progress across the road by staggering access points. So they are talking something related to an example in Britain, how these measures were used to help people, but did they actually consider all the points? No, they ignored some of the points. That's why they were unable to help people. Although they were intended to help the people, people are not actually getting benefited out of this because there were some loopholes in the method that was chosen. So let's go back to the questions. Why some measures intended to help people are being reversed? Reversed means they're not accepted. They're backfiring. You see how easy it is to get the answer? You have to understand the meaning of the question first. Then you will see how easy it is to get the answer. Okay, so now we are just left with one question, that is question number 3. Mention of an objective of both dance and engineering. So this paragraph should talk about an aim that's related to both dance as well as engineering. So it should cover both of them. So let's see. We'll start reading paragraph F. If their designers had the tools to think with their bodies like dancers and imagine how the barriers would feel, they might have a better solution. In order to bring about the fundamental changes to the way we use our cities, engineering will need to develop a richer understanding of why people move in certain ways and how this movement will affect them. Yes, so they need to, what is this paragraph telling? People who are constructing, people who are in the transport engineering sector should use the techniques just like how choreographers are using them. So it's comparing something that is common in between dance and engineering. So choreography may not seem an obvious choice for tackling this problem, yet it shares with engineering the aim. So does dance and engineering share an aim? Yes, it shares with engineering the aim of designing patterns of movement within limitations of space. So this is the aim, how to design movement within space limitations. That is what is the common aim. So aim is given as objective in the question. So the answer for the third question lies in paragraph F. So this is how you need to skim and get the point that you are looking for. The simplest way is to understand the meaning of the questions properly so that they can guide you very well to what you are actually looking for. So I hope you understood this, and here is the answer key for reference. So now let's go to the next set of questions in this reading passage that belong to summary completion. The only instruction that you need to pay attention to is the word count. Choose one word only. That means all the answers have to be in a single word. You can't write the answer in the form of 2 words or 3 words as a matter of fact. So, and here you already have the clue in the form of a title that's called guardrails. You remember we just read about them in paragraph E. Can you see here the guardrails? And they're talking something that happened on a British road. So let's see this. Guardrails were introduced on British roads to improve the dash of pedestrians. So what is the aim of introducing guardrails? Let's read. Guardrails that are familiar to anyone who has attempted to cross a British road were an engineering solution to pedestrian safety. So what is the purpose of using guardrails? It is for pedestrian safety. So here you already have the term pedestrians. So what do you write the answer as? Safety, to improve the safety of pedestrians. So the answer for the seventh blank is safety, while ensuring that the movement of dash is not disrupted. Movement of dash, that means you are looking for movement of something and it is not disrupted, that means it's not disturbed. So let's see. Okay, so based on the model that prioritize the flow means movement, flow of what? traffic. So what's the answer for the eighth blank? The movement of traffic is not disrupted. So traffic is the answer for the eighth blank. Next, pedestrians are led to access points. So let's see where we find the term access points. On wide major roads, they often guide the pedestrians to crossing points and slow down their progress by using staggered access points. Yes, so access points, we got that. Let's read. Access points and encourage to cross one dash at a time. So pedestrians are encouraged to cross one dash. So what are they crossing? That is what we need to find. Okay, and access points to divide the crossing into two, one for each carriageway. So what are they crossing, guys? One carriageway at a time. So carriageway is the answer for the question number 9. One carriageway at a time. Next, the unintended means we are not doing that intentionally. So the unintended effect to create the psychological difficulties in crossing the road, particularly for less dash people. So what is that? The psychological difficulties are aimed at. For whom? For what kind of people are these aimed at? So let's read it. Okay, so we read till carriageway. In doing so, they make crossings feel longer, introducing psychological barriers, greatly impacting those. Those means people. Those that are least mobile. So who is it intended to? It's for people who are least mobile. So less mobile people. That means people who can't walk properly or who walk slowly. So it's mainly meant for them. So mobile is the answer for the 10th blank. Next, another result is that some people cross the road in a dash way. So in what way are people crossing the roads? We have to look for that. Okay, so then, and encouraging others to make dangerous crossings. So how are they crossing, guys? In a dangerous way. So what's the answer for the 11th blank? It is dangerous way because it's given as dangerous crossings. So they're crossing the road in a dangerous way. The guard cells separate dash. So they are separating something and make it more difficult to introduce forms of transport that are dash. Okay, so the guard cells are separating something. What are they separating? Let's see. These barriers don't just make it harder to cross the road, they divide the communities. Divide is nothing but separate. So what are they separating? Communities. Remember guys, if you have to write the answer in the plural form, you have to write it in that way. You can't write the answer as community in this case because in the paragraph you found the answer to be in its plural form as communities. So you please write it as that. And let's go to the last question now, last blank, and make it more difficult to introduce forms of transport that are dash. So we are talking about forms of problem, transport. Okay, so they divide communities and decrease the opportunities for healthy transport. So what kind of transport is it? Healthy transport. So transport forms that are healthy. What's the answer for the 13th one? Healthy. So this is how you answer the questions that are related to the first paragraph of the first passage of the test 2. And here is the answer key for the summary completion, and I hope that this video was really useful for all of you in understanding how to solve the questions in the easiest and the fastest way possible. So till I see you with the second part of this video, happy preparation guys.